All right, welcome to Real Estate Coffee Break.
Yes, it's 2 o'clock.
Indeed.
And
got some Blue Bottle coffee here.
Yeah, and as you know, that's definitely the time to always have coffee at 2 o'clock, for me at least.
Well, I always need a pickup,
lunch,
right?
Yeah, right after lunch, time to get right back to work. And of course, you know, now it's a good time to talk real estate, as always.
Absolutely. Well, what's like one of the most interesting things that happened real estate related last week for you?
So I think this right now is a very interesting time in real estate because a couple things. One, you have the rate increases that you've kind of been seeing across the board in the past, at least since probably late summer.
Yeah.
And then also it's the holidays right now during this week, obviously, and
yeah.
So you don't know. There's a little bit of a slowdown, but there's homes still on the market. I was currently holding an open house over the weekend.
Oh, were you? Where at?
Yeah, in Pasadena.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, so it's a Craftsman. It's a brand new build. It's a beautiful home. I mean, honestly, like it's a beautiful cedar oak. It even has a Japanese room.
I've been to that.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I have. I have. Because I remember seeing it in
Alberta
pictures.
Street.
Yeah. And I remember seeing it in pictures. I'd be like, oh, wow, that's a really pretty Craftsman. And he came out and he's like, this is a new construction. I was like, what? But yeah, because it had that. Well, because it was an interesting property because the next. What was it? He owned the property next door as well, but they hadn't put a fence up yet. Is the fence up yet?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not. And so that actually, a lot of people who were coming through the open house had a lot of questions about, like, is the other property, is that part of the property, or is it just like an open fence? And we had to explain that.
Because I think he was renting it, right? Is he renting it?
That I don't know.
Okay.
That I don't know. But I spoke with the seller at the open house as well. And it's a beautiful property, and I think in the summer this house would have just flown off the market. But because right now we're in this interesting holiday time where it's a lot of probably home buyers are not focused on purchasing a house till at the end of the year or January 1st. They're worried about just looking at doing holiday parties and things with the kids. The home buyers are not really looking right now unless they're very serious, and that is actually what I saw in the open house yesterday. That the home buyers that did come through, they knew the property inside and out, and it was their first time being there. So they've seen it online, Redfin, Zillow, or whatever, or what have you, and they knew the layout. I didn't really even need to show them around.
No home tours.
No, they knew everything.
You're like, I know.
I know. So that's interesting, and they basically just want to see it live and see if this is something that they want to, entertain.
Well, that one in particular, you got to see in person because I was just absolutely blown away because you don't see that very often of people creating or people doing brand new builds of houses that are very faithfully recreating like a historic style. Right. And it's done really well. It's not like it's Craftsman-esque, but like a modern, completely modern inside. Right. It's like, I mean, granted, it's more open than those homes traditionally were, mostly because they were built in like the 1900s to 1920s, basically. Right, but it had the whole tatami room. And
and I actually had to do some research while I was hosting the open house about what is a Japanese room. I have no idea. Like, what do you do in there? I still don't actually kind of know. I think it's a multi-purpose room, so it could be used for a lot of purposes. But my guess is, for purposes of this house, because it was just like a separate bedroom, I would think it's more of going to be like a meditation room. But it's completely authentic to a Japanese room. Where it's imported even from Japan. All the mats and the paper and even the shelving was imported from Japan.
Because I think, if I remember correctly, the wife was Japanese.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So and she was basically like, I want this to be a completely authentic room. And
from my understanding is they wanted to stay there forever. I think they just found a really great opportunity somewhere else nearby, and so they jumped on that, and so now they're having to sell, unfortunately for them. But
because it was built in 2017. And if I remember correctly, they were ready to live in it for a while. That's interesting. Do you know anything about the opportunity that they found, like another house?
It's in South Pass. and obviously
probably an
better
old
schools.
craftsman this time.
That I don't know. I don't know about but they're in escrow, and so they're trying to close it out. And the Altadena property is beautiful, but it's just that unfortunately that's the timing right now. Is that it's a little slower, but very motivated buyers who do come through.
Yeah, motivated and definitely educated as well. I mean, I remember.
Yeah.
So I hosted an open house this weekend here in Old Town Pasadena.
Yeah, how was that?
It was good. It was good. I mean, similar thing. It's interesting in Old Town Pasadena because they have very restrictive sign regulations.
Right.
So because it's like mostly a commercial area,
right?
And this is a mixed-use building, right? It's like right underneath actually a really cool like Indian restaurant. Indian restaurant does Indian tacos.
Oh,
like
interesting.
Mexican-style tacos with like naan bread and.
It's not chutney.
It's chutney.
It's chutney.
So it's literally right above chutney.
Oh, I used to work right above Slater's 50/50.
Yeah, you can see into Slater's from this
awesome.
property. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But the crazy thing about it though is like, okay, so you look out these windows, and you think, wow, I'm gonna hear like all of the people, the cars and everything. Nothing. It's like a big, thick windows that they put in.
That's nice.
So as soon as you shut the door, it's like it's almost like creepily quiet.
An oasis.
Yeah.
And which is cool. I mean, can you beat that location, right? I mean, it's right in the heart of Old Town Pasadena.
Yeah.
All amenities right there. Right, you're by the Central Park.
Yep.
You're by the Gold Line, and then obviously all of the restaurants and bars in Old Town, which is awesome.
Well, yeah, and of course you can walk to the park on like Fair Oaks as well too.
Yes.
So you kind of are split between both
Central,
of them.
yeah, there's Central and then Memorial Park.
Yep. Yeah,
cool.
it's a cool spot.
It's a 2-bedroom, or is it like a studio?
Okay, so it's really interesting. Because I had to explain this every single time people walked in. Title says 2-bedroom.
Yeah.
We're advertising it as a 1-bedroom. In reality, it's a true loft, so it's a 0-bedroom. So like take your pick, whatever you want it to be.
That's interesting because like on Redfin you put in filters about how many bedrooms.
Yeah.
So you wanted to obviously pick up, I would imagine, as many filters as you possibly can.
Yeah, but you don't want anybody going there and expecting something that it's not.
True
right?
Too. That's true too.
So it got advertised as a 1-bedroom because it's likely to be used as a 1-bedroom. And to be fair, like the 1-bedroom is raised on a second floor. It's a really cool layout.
That's cool.
And actually, it's kind of funny because all of the people that we're getting that come through to the property, the only other place they're looking is in downtown because it's the only place you can get this like super industrial loft feeling.
Right.
I mean, it's like polished concrete floors, like big exposed brick, open, the duct and piping and everything like that, big cement pillars.
Right.
And it's really, really cool.
Yeah.
But I also have to say that people need to like that style.
Oh yeah,
right.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And if you're used to the normal, single family house, that's going to be a change for you.
Yeah.
But going back to downtown is so super cool. I mean, I'm blown away lately of how great downtown has in terms of development. I mean, I remember when I was in college, at USC, I'd go to downtown all the time, and even in 2008, it was just coming into development, and now I feel like it's fully there. Like it's an amazing.
Well, there's like 7 cranes on the skyline.
Oh yeah,
right?
It's insane.
It's nuts.
Yeah, and I think they just finished with the Intercontinental building.
That's the one with
the spear.
Yeah. That's what I read.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell is that thing called?
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's called the Intercontinental building. But so how would you think that compares, since it's going to be the same type of buyer, to the one here in Old Town versus a loft in downtown?
I mean, it is and it isn't. I mean, high level it is, right? Because you're looking at like historic loft conversions, right? And you're talking about historic areas, right? Old Pasadena is historic. Downtown has some historic property. Of course, they're also building some brand new, like super modern, like all glass kind of stuff downtown. How does it compare? I mean, I think in general, like Old Town Pasadena is going to be quieter than downtown. You don't have a massive flood of people that are coming into and out of Old Town Pasadena to work every day, which is that's what downtown is, right? So and the buildings are taller, and that contributes to a little bit more of that kind of like New York type feel, but they're both incredibly walkable.
How about price? Do you think is Pasadena going to be
I think it's gonna be less, and on the whole,
Yeah.
I really do, because I think that there's so much development that's happening in downtown, and downtown is expanding. Just from like not only from a building standpoint, but like bars and restaurants, entertainment, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so I think people are pricing it according to like where it's going. Whereas Old Pasadena, nobody's building here. Like this isn't changing. What's here is what's here, and the city's protecting that.
Yeah.
And so I think that the bars and restaurants might change and new things might come and stuff like that. But and it's a little further east. I mean, if anybody's doing some commuting west, downtown is going to be closer.
Right. What I think is interesting is, and I've seen this myself, is Old Town has really shifted in terms of like the nightlife scene since I think the invention of Uber. I think Uber has played a huge role because I'm seeing now less and less of the nightlife scene in Old Town because I think more and more people are headed towards downtown.
Right.
I mean, I remember when I was, out of college, living in Pasadena, there was really you could only go to Old Town because a taxi cab to downtown or Hollywood would be really expensive.
Yeah.
Now that's very, very easy to do. So you could still very easily live in a loft style or apartments in Pasadena. I mean, what's not to love living here?
Yeah.
But then do the nightlife scene, in downtown or in Hollywood. At least I've seen that. And now, because it's very affordable with Uber.
Well, and it's interesting too because so I went out in downtown last night. I went to go get one of my favorite sandwiches at Kohl's. Have you been to Kohl's?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Did you go to the Varnish?
So we didn't pop back there. I mean, I've been back there before, and it's really nice.
Yeah.
But one, they don't do food back there, right?
Yeah.
And we were going for dinner.
Right. Kohl's is awesome.
Kohl's, God, so good, so good. But I also just like the fact that in the front area, it's just straight prohibition, right?
Yeah.
It's like old fashions, Manhattans, Sazeracs, and beer, and that's it.
Yeah.
But so I used to live, 5-minute walk from Kohl's, so we would go to Kohl's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then we moved a little bit away from it, not all the way towards Pasadena, but further east, in Lincoln Heights. And now we haven't gone as much, but I still found it really, really easy to go get to, and just drive. Parking, it can be gnarly if you're Friday, Saturday night. You're probably going to pay for something, but on a Sunday, all the meters are off.
Yeah.
Easy to just pop down there for dinner.
Actually, you know what? Have you ever heard of the app Spot Hero?
No.
It's an awesome app. I love it. And every time I need to park in downtown, if I'm not Ubering, I use it. It's you basically reserve a parking space, and usually one of the huge,
like in a garage.
In a garage.
Okay.
And it gives you a barcode that you just scan and you go in, and it's half the price, if even.
No way. Because I was just about to ask,
amazing.
Okay, fine, what's the upcharge?
Yeah,
right?
no.
It's less?
It's way less.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't paid any more, using Spot Hero, I haven't paid more than probably $10 for parking, and that's for all day parking. Even one time we stayed, just for the weekend in the new Hotel Freehand, which is across from the Golden Gopher.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. It was so much fun, and I didn't do the valet of $40 a day or whatever. Hell no, I just did the Spot Hero, which is where it was hilarious because it was the same garage that the valet was parking their cars anyway.
And so do you have to park within a certain amount of time?
You set up on the app
when you're going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they got to hold the spot basically,
yeah.
right? I mean,
I think they just, especially on the weekends, they know that they're dead. A lot of garages are not, especially with Uber and Lyft. A lot of people, the garages are dead on the weekends, even in downtown, and especially around that area.
Interesting.
Around the Whole Foods area.
So did you go for Golden Gopher, or where were you down there for?
No, actually, a buddy was in town from Seattle, so he was staying there too, and we went to the Salt Shaker, which is the rooftop bar on top of Freehand.
Oh,
Is it called Salt Shaker or Shaker something? Yeah, it's like a tropical themed rooftop bar on top of Freehand Hotel, which is just amazing, and it's only a year. Literally, when we checked in, I asked the front desk person what was here beforehand, and literally she said it was vacant for the past 15 years.
Wow.
This entire building was vacant for 15 years in the heart of downtown. And so you really can, and the hotel's only a year old. So this is how new the development has been going on. And I remember going to an event in 2009 to Golden Gopher, like a birthday party, and I was walking quickly, like from my car to the Golden Gopher. It was actually kind of scary. I mean, Skid Row was just 2 blocks away, and it's amazing how much it's changed. And the Arts District really wasn't a thing since, probably since like 2008, 2009, and now it's just exploded.
Yeah.
But I mean, I personally like the urban living, but I don't know if I want like so hardcore as downtown. So I like this lot that you have. Yeah,
it's almost like a hybrid, right? Because and I have that conversation because this is the second time I've held that one open,
right?
And that is a very similar conversation that we're having, which is, I mean, look, here's the thing: if you work downtown, live downtown and walk.
Right.
No question. I'm not going to try to convince you to live in Pasadena.
Yeah.
But if you're kind of driving somewhere else and you kind of... Because here's the thing. It's either you want that walkability, but like if you want a little bit more of that peace and quiet, because it's not just like downtown has its rough areas. I think everybody knows that.
Right.
But I think it's also just the how rapid things are being built.
Yes.
Right? And so like it might just be the noise of like a new restaurant coming in.
Right. And another thing I noticed about downtown is it's not very conducive. I don't know do you have any pets? I don't know if you
we used to have a dog full time, now we share custody.
Okay. Yeah. So it's like pets are not very conducive to pets. There's not a lot of just grassy areas in downtown. Mostly like when I took my dog down there that weekend, like he had to go to the bathroom like on the cement, and I just think that's weird, but I wish they did. And those little things, you have a little bit more of suburban living if you're living in Old Town Pasadena. Yeah.
Well, Pasadena in general is just so dog friendly, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in this particular building, I would venture to guess that half the people have dogs.
Got it.
Because we actually door knocked with the neighbors on Thursday.
Yeah, I saw your video. That was cool. That was awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if we captured I mean, I wasn't gonna like video us.
Video them also.
Hey, first of all, hi, my name's Cameron. Come to our open house, and you're on camera.
That's a twofer.
So here's a little behind the scenes tip. We weren't actually door knocking when that video happens.
Okay.
We had just door knocked, and we were sort of
pretend.
Yeah,
that's door knocking.
It's door knocking enough. It's not, like we left
just didn't video the act of it.
Exactly. The intentions were good.
Yeah.
The intentions were good. But it's great because we get to meet some of the neighbors, and I think one of the interesting things about like a true loft style living is that it comes as essentially a blank canvas, right? And so, like I talked to one of the neighbors, and he was like, "Yep, I was one of the first people to buy it back in 2005 when they did the conversions. I gutted the whole thing, took it down to the studs, built it, even built like a new spiral staircase in his, and sadly I haven't gotten to go inside his yet, but." The ones that I have seen in are very, very different. I mean, they all have an industrial feel, but I just feel like that openness is very conducive to either creative people or creative uses of the space. It just begs for that, right? I mean, I heard from one of the neighbors that another person that is in the building, they sort of only live in it part-time because I think he's like a part of Cirque du Soleil or something.
Oh wow! So
and so like they do just like he hangs like these like trapeze and like like the silk stuff,
right.
and they do like practices in there.
Yeah.
And,
wow.
And then he's traveling a lot. So like the condo works for like these, low maintenance. Kind of a thing, but if you have like
so he's like practicing in there.
Yeah, because you have these like big open beams and stuff. And you can hang these, suspension points to practice all your aerial work.
You know who to market then.
Just
go to circuses all the time. Are you looking for a house in Pasadena?
Yeah.
Boy, do I have one for you.
Oh yeah, you're looking to hang yourself from the ceiling?
A lot of beams.
Flips and tricks?
Yeah.
We got you. We got you.
You can maybe even, as a seller concession, some ribbons, some some trapeze.
We'll throw in a free swinging chair thing.
That's right. But that's really, what a cool job that is, to be in Cirque du Soleil. I mean,
I can't imagine what that's like. It's interesting because it's like, it's like a hybrid between like an actor and performer, and like an athlete.
Oh yeah,
right? Because you simultaneously have to be on camera, but not on camera, but like in front of people.
Yeah,
and practicing your things, but also I'm sure you have to hit the gym every day.
Oh yeah. So before Cirque du Soleil blew up, what did the trapeze people? They were just doing Ringling Brothers.
I think they were just doing circus.
Yeah, so that was a tough market. It's as a trapeze performer, it is now your opportunities are
so many more people that are like
exponential now.
Yeah, well, now parents that used to say, you want to be a trapeze? No, there's no work for you. Can be like, well, actually,
there's a lot of work.
There might be something for you. All right, well, the video recording stopped because I got a phone call. I'm gonna have to edit that in. I'll have to call him back. I don't know who that was.
It was 818. Have you been getting robocalls though? I'm getting robocalls like crazy lately. Just insane amount.
So you remember? So I got my new Los Angeles number recently.
Right.
And I think occasionally what I'm getting is because they recycle these numbers, right? So in all likelihood, somebody used to have that number before me, and I'm getting people that are like associated with this old number, So I think that's what it is.
Okay.
I'm not getting a lot of calls, but
10 times a day maybe.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. I have this app though because I have AT&T. Do you have AT&T?
I have Verizon.
AT&T has this app, another app that I'm promoting.
None of these are paid, paid sponsorships.
I wish. But I'm open to it.
Yeah.
But,
that's for episode 2.
Yeah. But like it knows if it's a spam caller. I'm not sure how it knows, but then it comes across your phone like this is spam. And so I just decline it. Because in my industry, and yours as well.
Yeah, I mean my phone is very public.
Yeah, I have to pick up. But if it obviously is saying spam, then I don't have to pick that up. But otherwise, it's like I'm being tricked every 10 minutes, like 5 times a day, where I'm like, okay, I hope this is a customer or something I need to help with a loan, and it's like
your hopes up. Oh, no.
And that happens like at least 5 times a day. So. Yeah, that's...
Well, I'm not at that point yet, but if I'm at that, if I eventually reach that point, then I'll have to hit you up for some kind of...
Yeah.
Well, and it was kind of funny because I used to have my Texas number, an 817 number, and they're doing the thing where they call from numbers that are close to your number.
Okay, yeah.
Right? And I've been living out in Los Angeles for like almost 8 years now.
Yeah.
And so I always knew that if I got an 817 number that wasn't saved in my phone,
right.
I knew. I knew it was a spam.
There's something up with that, yeah.
Now I don't have that luxury anymore.
I know. I mean, last time we were talking about your background in Texas and how it seems like there's a lot of people now moving, at least towards Texas.
Yeah.
Have you been kind of seeing that migration a little bit, or?
Well, I mean, we always make fun. Well, because let me take a step back. So I'm from outside of Dallas,
right?
And a lot of people from Los Angeles are moving to Austin. Okay, and I always describe Austin as the beating blue heart of a very red state.
Right.
And so So people aren't really moving to Texas per se from Los Angeles. I mean, people are moving to Texas from all over, but people from Los Angeles are not necessarily relocating to Texas. They're going to Austin. And so, there's sort of like this running joke that like people in Austin are pissed at LA for like driving up the prices or whatever. We're seeing it, but we're also seeing people relocating to Los Angeles from places like Chicago, Boston, New York, places that are cold.
Right.
Even San Francisco. Even San Francisco, we're seeing that.
Well, because also, I mean, San Francisco is obviously Silicon Valley, but Silicon Beach is emerging here in LA.
It's ramping up.
Where if you worked for Facebook, if you work for Google, you can find, and Amazon, but Amazon's in Seattle, but still, you could still find jobs and career opportunities with those same companies, but in a much nicer climate.
Right.
I mean, look at this. It's December.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It's amazing weather. Here. So
I think it's kind of interesting because, I mean, if you look, so I was up in San Francisco about a month ago, and I was chatting with some agents that I know up there, and obviously the prices are higher than Los Angeles on the whole. I mean,
I think the median home price is $1 million right now.
in San Francisco, on the peninsula, at least.
Just the Bay Area.
At least.
Yeah.
And so, yes, it's a smaller area, and Los Angeles is very, very spread out. But you have so many high-paying tech jobs that are actually supporting those prices.
Right.
Whereas Los Angeles, for a long time, like, we had, and still do, I mean, it's closing to a certain extent, but a very large gap between home prices and average wages, right?
Right.
And so essentially the ability to actually pay for it.
Right.
And that is, a lot of it is my old industry's fault in entertainment for being so heavy with its pay at so very few at the top.
Okay.
There's such a very much a pyramid structure.
A lot of low wage on the bottom.
A lot of entry level.
And it's very hard to get to the top.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I started as a PA, back when I moved to Los Angeles, I think at like $13 an hour, which means I was on Craigslist finding a room to rent. Like, there's no, and in production assistants and coordinators, I mean, that's the bulk of, and entry level artists. I mean, entry level artists pays a little bit better,
right?
But these weren't necessarily the kind of jobs that were going to at least immediately support the average home prices in Los Angeles.
Right.
Now, if you were diligent and you saved, like, absolutely over a certain time period.
Right.
But it's funny because a lot of people are young that are doing that, and the first thing on their mind is when they're 21, 22, 23 is not like, cool, so here's my savings account because when I'm 35, I want to buy a home. Like, people aren't always, I mean, shit, I wasn't when I was that age. Like, there's no way I was forward thinking enough to do that.
And how are you supposed to predict those types of things? You're just trying to, like, live here at that price and just an entry level into this industry. You're just trying to, like, make it. At that point.
Yeah, you're concerned with what your next gig is.
Right.
Let alone like, am I going to stay in this long enough to?
But now I think the industry is. I think it's pretty amazing. LA is like. I think we were talking about it. Like, no one really decides to. No one. If you do end up leaving LA, it's not like you wanted to. Under certain circumstances, everyone, I feel like, at least when I talk to them, they want to stay here.
Right.
It's just housing just becomes too expensive, and cost of living.
Well, and so what's interesting, because I've run these comparisons a lot. So we have some really good friends that just moved to Denver.
Okay.
Right. And absolutely, like, housing prices are much more in line with, like, the median United States home. Mm-hmm. But in terms of the rest of cost of living, it's not very much different. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, if you compare it to something like Texas, which doesn't have state income tax, and we have around 13-ish percent on average state income tax, like, that's a hit. That's a hit for sure. But if you're talking just like, gas prices, food prices,
it's
like your other,
it
is surprisingly about the same.
And actually, I think too, property taxes are actually a lot lower in California than in many other states, including
Chicago's
Texas.
having a huge problem with property tax right now, because I was chatting with some agents from Chicago, because some people are moving to Los Angeles, and a lot of them are choosing to sell, like, their really big, nice homes and downsize or go out of state for their primary residence, because on that primary residence, we're capped at 1%.
Right.
We average about 1.1%.
Right.
And we're capped at how much it can increase each year.
Right.
They're not.
Right.
They're seeing like 4% sometimes.
Right.
And like, if you have over $1 million home, like.
Yeah. I think it's funny, like, every state has some way that they're going to get your money, you know, in terms of taxes, right?
So it's not income?
So it's not income, it's the sales or property tax.
Yeah.
But basically what it tells me about California is, okay, low property tax, above average probably on income tax, and obviously sales tax. So what that says to me is definitely buy property in California. Versus in Texas, it sounds like it's probably better to rent but work in Texas because of no income tax.
Yeah.
It's like it's that type of weighing out that you have to do. But I don't think California really cares. Like, they want. I mean,
there will always be enough people that want. I mean, because here's the thing. Like, look, my family still lives in Texas.
Right.
I've been to Texas many times. Like, it's fine, and some areas of Austin are really cool.
Yeah.
But, like, this is California.
Yeah.
Come on, like, this is like.
I know.
This is one.
Yeah.
We're talking about housing too. And I could easily make an argument for 3 of the most, the most creative and influential cities in the United States.
Yes.
Certainly Los Angeles and San Francisco,
Right.
and I think a lot of people can make an argument for throwing San Diego in there.
Yeah.
As well. So it's just like, I feel like, and because Lindsay and I chat about this a lot, as to like, how do we not just stay in Los Angeles, but actually like flourish here? I mean, really, really flourish here, because that's what everybody wants to do. Nobody wants to just get by the whole time. And the people that live here in Los Angeles have made the conscious decision that, you know what, the weather, the outdoors, the quality of life in general, food, art, culture, all of these things. They don't want to go live in a flat suburb of Texas because it's cheaper. They have said, okay, yes, it's more expensive out here, and I recognize that. And so, yeah, I'm going to have to work a little bit harder and save a little bit better and maybe adjust some things for a little while. But if I truly want to be where the action is, and I hear that from New York all the time. It's like, they're like, I wouldn't live anywhere else because this is where the action is. I mean, hands down. And I agree with them. I like New York. I just can't stand it in the weather.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing is, if there was a place that was just as good as New York but had amazing weather, that's Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You know, so like, and I guess, you know, our friends in the Bay Area is pretty awesome too. You know, San Francisco.
Yeah.
But I mean, but the weather trumps it all, I think.
Yeah, I think there's a difference in the speed of life, because I was actually chatting with somebody at the Compass holiday party about, and he lived in New York for about 10 years, came back, one of the top guys here at Compass, and he was just like, you know what, like, we couldn't take the craziness. It was just so crazy, and it was basically like, do we move out to the suburbs and have a really, really long commute in, or you know, come out to Los Angeles full time. They now live in Mount Washington. Mount Washington's beautiful. Yeah. And I feel like
so close to downtown.
So I mean, most of the houses up there have a view of downtown.
Right.
So you can literally see how close you are.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, having that, I mean, Mount Washington gets quiet at night.
Yeah.
It's peaceful.
Yes.
Really peaceful.
Yeah. Cool.
So it's an excellent spot.
Yeah. I mean, it's just an interesting time. Like, you know, coming full circle is just of real estate right now and seeing where that's at. But at the same time, I just can't imagine ever like home prices dropping significantly in Los Angeles. I just can't. I mean, I saw even in the recession, home prices did decline, and you know, it was.
Well, not in every area, right?
Not in every area.
Right? Like, I keep hearing this over and over in my office in Pasadena. It's like, San Marino never dropped.
It didn't.
San Marino never dropped.
It was the only city in America at one point to have an increase in home values in 2009. 9 and 10. It was crazy. Like, but that was because of a lot of foreign money. You know, what's a better investment than San Marino real estate?
Right.
You know, I mean, there's not much. So like, that's where a lot of foreign money came in, because they were scared of the global markets, and the markets the markets were constricting. So, you know, might as well put it and park it into real estate in San Marino, where it's probably as safe as can be.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's just an interesting time. But I think I just don't see home prices going down too much in Los Angeles, where the job market is doing so well, consumer confidence is doing amazing, and you know, you're still in this amazing place. I could see other markets, like maybe higher desert areas of LA County, or you know, obviously always the first, unfortunately, to get hit are the Sunbelt cities of Las Vegas and Phoenix.
Right.
And it's really, Las Vegas is interesting because they've actually started really increasing their industry. I mean, they have Zappos out there, which is, you know, Amazon owned.
Yeah.
And so it's not just tourism.
Right. It's not just strip anymore.
Right.
But there's so much just area out there to build.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like, if you want to put in a mega factory, that's the place to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and they're, to be fair, their state government is like, you know, offering some pretty nice tax breaks to go ahead and build out there.
I know. But you know, I know. I don't know. I'm like 90 years old. Do you watch 60 Minutes?
No.
Yeah,
I don't even know how I would watch 60 Minutes anymore.
CBS, I think, I don't know, I TiVo it, so I don't really actually know when it starts, but it's just scheduled. Anyway, they interviewed Elon Musk last night.
Oh, really?
You know,
Okay.
obviously, CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, and he started PayPal. But he was basically really interesting is his assembly lines are all still in California, even though the battery plant that he just built is in Nevada.
Right.
But the assembly lines, and he is having, he says, his most challenging year ever in terms of his career, because he has the newer, less expensive Teslas that are like, supposed to be like 30,000. They're really like 45,000.
Yeah, they haven't quite gotten it down to that.
But he had to churn out at one point 1,000 cars a week to meet his quota and to meet like shareholders' expectations. So he was literally on the assembly line he said, literally the entire week. He didn't even ever go outside to even look around. The entire week he slept in the assembly line. And it was really smart. What they did is they built a makeshift third assembly line on the parking lot of their first two assembly lines, and literally like a tent. It looks like a party or whatever, and instead of automation, it's humans. It's humans just putting the car together.
So there are some handmade Teslas out there.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And he even says that's my miscalculation. I thought the world is all going towards automation and robots, but don't underestimate humans. I mean, because they're really amazing and they're so versatile, and they can make these adjustments real fast in terms of getting these cars off the line. And so it was very interesting. Maybe you could look it online.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine
being 90 has some advantages, I think.
Most of that stuff tends to hit YouTube after a little while.
Yeah, right. You'll see it on YouTube. Yeah.
I mean, not necessarily that I'm like the most cutting edge person, but like I don't know. I haven't had cable in a long time.
I know. So. Yeah. Exactly. I know. But it just goes to show. I think my point of that was like everything's still in California. The skilled workers are here. Obviously the buyers are here. And the investors are here, into Tesla. So that's why almost all of the operations of Tesla is still in California.
So we had a major problem with that in the film industry for a long time because people were Canada was actually offering huge tax breaks. So was Georgia, and so was New Mexico for a long time.
Yeah.
And so back when I worked at Sony, they chased the tax breaks in New Mexico. Built a whole studio, tax breaks were gone, and within 2 weeks, every employee was back in Los Angeles. And actually, that was one of the reasons why I left in the first place, because I was there when they were making a huge push up to Vancouver, and I was just like, I don't really want to go up there. I'm sure I've heard it's a great city.
It's a beautiful city, yeah.
Heard it's a beautiful city. I've heard wonderful things about it, but I like Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of other people do too.
Right.
And so so now I talk to some of my old Sony buddies who are basically just like, eventually people started coming back, and they had to hire the most talented people if they wanted them to stay and not get snapped up by Netflix.
Yeah.
Who's making a huge LA push.
That's right.
I
read that. Yeah. Netflix basically just said, to hell with the tax breaks.
Yeah.
I don't care about that. We want to invest in people and talent. And so they're like investing heavily in building production studios in Los Angeles and just filming in LA, creating and filming and distributing all in LA.
Yeah. Which again, to come full circle once more, that is fully going to support LA home prices and keep that demand there.
True. Yeah, it's a good business for us, to be in this industry for sure.
Yeah, I mean, especially because people still see this as a pretty high barrier to entry if it's like your first home purchase, and so a lot of people are like, they're scared, they don't know how to do it, and it's super just so much paperwork, there's so much legal process to be guided through that when they're like, oh, I should buy a house. How do I do that exactly?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have to be honest. Like being in the loan industry and knowing loans are complicated. They're not easy to do. buying a house is not easy to do, and it's not like most people don't do it every day,
right?
Unless you're like a developer. But if you're just buying a house once every 7 years, obviously every 7 years you're going to forget how
people
the process
absolutely
works.
Need to be reminded, and things change. Like the contracts, even on at least in my side of things, they change every year.
Yes.
So the idea of
loan
going
programs change every year.
Yeah. And so, I mean, the idea of walking a seller through a listing presentation, and they're like, oh yeah, I've done this. This isn't my first home, and you're like, well, things have changed. I mean, if it has been, 4, 5, 6, 7 years,
right? And I think that's where when you go into the future threats of the real estate industry, at least for real estate agents like yourself or loan officers like myself, where automation is going to be king, and Amazon's going to take over the real estate world, and Redfin and Purple Bricks. I do think that the advisory role is so important and so key in the real estate industry. The fact that you can handhold a buyer to looking at homes, number one. Number two, writing a correct contract to not get in any legal trouble later down the road or whatever, or for me doing a loan and really walking through them, all of the loan options that exist and how to to get the best loan possible and the best rate possible. Automation's not going to do that entirely,
right.
And I think that's where the industry is headed in terms of being the best advisor you can to your clients.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because don't get me wrong, like at a certain price point, like people are absolutely looking for a deal. When you are talking about one of the strongest real estate markets in the entire United States, people understand they are willing to pay more money for less headaches.
Yeah.
Because I don't care what industry you're in, if you're wanting a $500,000 condo or a $5 million house, people got other stuff to do. Mm-hmm. And they worked very hard to get to this point.
Right.
And they understand that you get what you pay for. Mm-hmm. And why risk getting burnt? Why risking somebody, working with somebody that is either remote or not a person at all?
Right.
If you're going to work with something in a fully automated scenario. And it's interesting because we see this a lot, like when people are kind of buying like Zillow leads, Redfin leads, what have you, and a lot of first-time buyers don't really understand that, like, if you go to see a property with somebody, you don't have to, but it is generally expected that if you don't have somebody else that you're working with, you're going to write an offer with them on that person, on that house.
Right.
And I think that in general, most real estate agents are competent enough to be able to show somebody a property and write a halfway decent contract. Mm-hmm. But up at that point, if you don't know that person and suddenly you're in a 30-day plus escrow with somebody that you're like, oh, I just met you online and we walked through a house for 15 minutes and wait, I'm supposed to hang out with you and have you be my leader of this whole thing?
Yeah.
It's rare. That's not what I signed up for. You know what I mean?
And that's rare. I think, I don't think you're going to see that. And that's where reputation comes, first and foremost is, at holiday parties, especially around now, a lot of people are always talking. Any holiday party that I end up going to, there always real estate comes up at some point. And they do, and people talk about who's the best real estate agent that they used and where did they get their loan from, and usually they like to compare rates and what their rates were and stuff like that. But that's where reputation comes in because no one wants to say or will say even like, oh, I used a Zillow or Redfin agent, and they're like, oh, you could have used, Cameron, who I've worked with a lot of deals on. And I think that's where reputation is so important to be like, they provided great service, and obviously that's going to be your MO throughout the entire community.
Yeah, I think most importantly, nobody wants to say, I took a gamble on something discount and I didn't get what I wanted. I mean, it's kind of also like, even as an agent, if you work with somebody and somebody comes and says, great, I'll let you list my house if you cut your rate. And then you get in this weird situation where if the seller doesn't get what they wanted fully, the agent could be like, well, you wanted discount and you kind of got a discount.
Right.
And the seller didn't get what they wanted, because if they were not 100% satisfied, like maybe they didn't get the price they wanted,
right.
or maybe they did get the price, but it was a nightmare or what have you.
Right.
And you don't, we see it all the time. Like, and this is funny because my office manager, she says this whenever anybody talks about Redfin, Zillow, Purple Bricks, what have you. She goes, there's always room for Neiman Marcus.
Yes.
And what she means by that is there's always room for people that are good at what they do.
Right.
Now, that is a key point.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just
you have to be good at what you do.
You have to be good at what you do,
but
right?
That's in every industry, every profession.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I understood a time that was like, say the last 2-3 years where, you have to be 18 years old to get your license.
Yeah.
That an 18-year-old could have stuck a sign out on a house and sold it.
But
those days are not here anymore.
No, but at the same time, too, a seller is still going to want to pick a high reputable agent to list their home. But you're right. They could, and that's where I think Redfin got so much advantage in the past sellers market the past couple of years, is because they only charge 1% commission, and literally all they had to do.
Well, that's their basic package. I don't think anybody, because that's the thing is because it's 1% or 2% to do the rest of everything that a full service would do.
But they would charge just the seller. I mean, a buyer, it still might be 3%.
Yeah.
But just for the seller, 1%, and they're just going to put a sign and do their photos, and it would sell.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
But
they never have to show
you're
up.
In a seller's market. This market is different,
and
I think this is where the really great agents, they kind of rise. Yeah. And really show their stuff.
Yeah.
So
because you're going to have somebody that will sit with a seller for a significant amount of time if it comes to that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we are going to see days on market go up, and you're going to see people who are going to have multiple conversations with sellers, or even uncomfortable conversations like a price drop. Nobody wants to see that. Or, hey, I know you really didn't want to stage this place, but you gotta stage it. You need to clean up.
Yeah.
The days of your old ratty furniture.
And I've been hearing that Compass has an awesome deal where they will they'll kind of compensate for staging. At least a little bit.
I guess that kind of teed it up, huh?
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's called the Compass Concierge. This is actually, it's interesting because like Compass is working on a lot of different things. Right. They're very. They are very forward thinking, but this is the one thing where I just think this is just going to like blow people out of the water. And it's called the Compass Concierge, and they will basically it's essentially like a 0% loan on cosmetic, cleaning, and staging. Right, all of the things that sellers know they need to do,
especially in
agents
this market.
are like, you better do this, or we're gonna say, or it's gonna just come off as a kind of a crummy listing, and it's really not going to stack up to everybody that did do it.
Right.
And they sell for a higher price. They sell faster and at a higher price, but they need to be kicked in up front. And it's usually not a great situation for a seller who's like, okay, I'm signing all these documents for the cost to sell my house. And wait, I need to pay for this all now before we even go to the market. Right. It's tough. It's a tough sell.
Right.
And so we're basically saying we're gonna handle it all up front. And it's not like structural stuff. Like if you need a new foundation, like that's on you.
A problem. Yeah.
But
just to clean it up and sell.
Yeah, and make it. I had another phone call, so we're gonna have to do something that the last phone call.
Hey, you're busy. That's good.
I know. Well, we're working some pretty big stuff right now. So,
good.
But let's wrap this up because we're gonna have plenty more to talk to.
This is great.
Same time next week.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, we'll pick a different coffee spot in Pasadena because there are a ton.
Because I want to walk.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Well, always a pleasure.
Yeah. Good to see you, Mark.
Yeah. All right. Take care.